That's what's happening with this federal government when it comes to the attempt to introduce fines and a regulatory system around misinformation, all right? Now, clearly, outright defamation, outright discredit, all of these things are covered, all right? But I'm talking about a narrative the government doesn't like. So if the official line out of the government, Nicholas, is, we needed to take 2 jets because the Air Force said we had to take 2 jets, and anyone turning around saying, well, hang on, that shouldn't be taking place, well, that may well be if a Karen wants to go off and complain and a whole bunch of people that are sympathetic to their employers, part of the system, they'll turn around, rule it to be misinformation, and that's a slippery slope that this government wants to send us on now. They're currently lubing up the slide.
Well, look, again, I agree it's complex. There is a slippery slope there. 5 years ago, I probably would have agreed with you on this, Paul. But now through modern media and social media and digital platforms, you know, there are these parallel universes that exist where blatant misinformation is being used to divide society, cause great social harm. And we need to have some sort of response to that, and I agree it's not easy to make these laws, but I think we need to have a go at it. As for J.K. Rowling, look, I think she's a brilliant author. I've read all of her books, so have my kids. Much joy to be found there, but I don't think she's a great legal mind, and I don't think she really understands these hate laws in Scotland. Again, context is important. If you say these things, it has to be with the intention of being abusive and spreading hate, and clearly you know, someone having a lark or using, saying something not particularly nice in the context of a comedic performance is not going to bring you into breach of these laws. Now, she's a gender-critical feminist.
Your joke is vilification. That's the point of the laws running out of control. And that's where I think we're beginning to head. And we know that what is reasonable offence and a common standard of offence has now completely changed to what the activists seek to define as a certain form of offence, which is emblematic by the person who seeks to say they are offended as if it was a decree on their life or their safety because there's a joke or even a comment about whether there are 2 genders. Now, I want to talk about voice funding, all the rest of it. Let's take a quick and early break now because I don't want to rush this one. In fact, actually, sorry, I've got Nigel Farage next, so I've got to get this done now. So let's talk about the voice funding. 5-1 margin that they ended up having. But, Nicholas, a lot of people and a lot of companies that shouldn't have jumped in but did, and they ended up backing what 60% of the country and every state, including woke Victoria, said hell no to.
Look, I think it was perfectly legitimate for companies to support the yes case, equally legitimate for companies to support the no case. I know the simple story you can tell here is that companies should just, stick to their lane and return shareholder value, full stop. The complex truth is that companies have a responsibility to go beyond their shareholders. They've got to be mindful of their employees. They've got to be mindful of their customers. They've got to be mindful of the culture in their organisation and the broader social culture and how they're contributing to that. And so I do agree that companies should be able to take a position on these things as long as they do it in a transparent way through, being open about it, reporting it and going through proper mechanisms within their organisation.
60% of them disagreed with the decision that they made, Michael.
Look, these companies should stay out of this. They've done so much damage to themselves, Woolworths, Qantas, etc. They've done enormous damage to their brands by getting involved in this. The public were repulsed by what happened, and eventually what you saw was effectively with 60 million and 20-odd million, 80, what's that? $530 million was spent on The Voice, Albo. $530 million you caused to be sent on this because you couldn't stand up to the activists, the hardline activists on your own side. $500 million has gone down the drain. We get nothing to show for us except division. And just imagine, mate, what that money could have done in Alice Springs, Albo, what it could have done. But to your point, Paul, these corporates have had it's been disastrous for their brands, and they should know in future, don't be intimidated by the woke corporate affairs departments who send these recommendations to the board and the board members tick off on them. The board members should stand up and say no to this in future.
Love you, boys. Thanks for the deep dive into free speech and, expressing it as easily as you do on this program. Thank you, lads. Love you, Nicholas. Love you, Michael.